What would you do if you woke up to this?
This is me in a porn video, but it's completely fake.
A video of yourself, except you didn't make it, and it only got worse.
So the day before I found out, no girl knew what was happening, but we knew the boys knew something. And the next day I was called down to the principal's office to be confirmed as one of many students of the AI incident.
Your whole life ruined over something you never did.
Now to a troubling story about celebrities and technology.
Deepfakes.
Deepfake?
Deepfake.
Deepfake porn.
You are able to look at women who are not selling themselves or benefiting off of being seen sexually. They're not benefiting, they're not selling it, they're not platforming it themselves. If you are able to look at that, you are the problem. You see women as an object.
I am not Morgan. I never met Boris.
I'm here to tell you about the
Baby Shark.
You blame me for interfering with
the iPhone 15 Pro.
Oh my gosh, that would be nice to own.
President Trump is a total and complete dipshit.
Let's go back. It's 2017 and a new subreddit pops up, r/deepfakes, and it immediately becomes popular. Why? Well, on this subreddit, numerous forms of deepfakes were being shared. But these weren't your usual form of deepfakes. These were porn deepfakes, where popular film stars had their likenesses slapped onto these videos and portrayed to have shared intimate videos of themselves without their consent. These videos surfaced all over the internet, gathering media attention, which later led to the subreddit getting taken down. But this wasn't the beginning of deepfakes. For that, we have to go even further back up until the late 1990s, where a program known as the Video Rewrite Program made its debut. This program could rewrite the mouth of a person in a video to make it seem like they were saying something else completely.
This is Video Rewrite. My face is Ellen's. My voice is Michelle's. Ellen did not say these words. Michelle did.
At the time of its release, this was groundbreaking, and it paved way for the continuous improvements of face remapping technology over the next 10 years, where it started getting more recognition with new technologies popping up, with each doing something better than the last. But the most noticeable of them all happened in 2015 with the release of Fast 7. Now, what was interesting about this release was that its shooting took place in September 2013, and the untimely death of one of its talents, Paul Walker, happened in November of the same year, so they had to find a way of incorporating him into the movie without him being there. I think you know where this is going. The studio used deepfakes of Paul Walker in the remaining portion of the movie mixed with old footage, and the results were good, to say the least. And although the results still had an uncanny feeling to them, we must give credit where credit is due. That was pretty dang impressive. And it led the movie to becoming the most profitable one in the franchise to this day, with a global box office of $1.5 billion. But things for deepfakes took a turn for the worst a few years later on December 11th, 2017. A news article by Vice Media revealed the opposite spectrum of what was actually happening behind the scenes. A Reddit user had made and shared deepfakes of the female actress Gal Gadot, and many more for that matter, and as you might have guessed, it was a porn deepfake. And I can't show the video here for obvious reasons, but when the person in question was asked on why he was doing this and what he was actually doing, all he said was,
"I just found a clever way to do face swap. With hundreds of face images, I can easily generate millions of distorted images to train the network. After that, if I feed the network someone else's face, the network will think it's just another distorted image and try to make it look like the training face."
Following the publication of this article and immense pressure from the public and media, Reddit finally intervened and banned the subreddit, but the damage had already been done, because before the ban, the subreddit had already amassed a membership count of 90,000 members, and from that number, we can only assume how many videos had been shared, and it was now only a matter of time before other people knew how to recreate these videos and for all hell to break loose. In that year alone, deepfakes showed their highest interest rate of all time, most of it being from the same month the subreddit was banned. And then following that, millions of people started to make deepfakes of their own of even people they knew in real life, and deepfakes started to grow into a business. And as of 2023, the deepfake industry had been valued at $6.83 billion, which shows just how much big of a deal this would become. Now, how are these deepfakes actually made, and can we create one of our own? Say we want to create a deepfakes using my likeness in particular. Well, it turns out it's pretty easy to do that, and all you actually need is just a picture of me, which at this point is not that hard to acquire. And using that, all we need to do is just look up a tutorial on YouTube and voila. I mean, using just a single picture, this is what we already have. And it wasn't that hard to make. And I know it's not the best in realism, not to mention has no audio, but this is just an example of how much this technology has advanced ever since the first video rewrite program in 1997, like I showed you earlier. And I'm sure there are better programs that can do a better job than this, but how are these models actually doing this? Like, what's really happening in the background? Simply explained, a deepfake is basically training a computer to understand the structure of the face and the different forms of speech and how they're related. And basically how this helps is that one person's face can be able to be taken and moved and placed onto another person's face like we've seen before. And before we continue, there are two types of deepfakes. We have deep faces and deep voices, which do mean what the name suggests, where deep faces are what you're seeing and deep voices are the replications of a person's voice using AI. And how both of these are actually made is kind of similar, but I'm going to try to explain how both of them are made separately, and hopefully it's going to be a bit more clear. To begin with, let's lay out a very important term. Deepfakes are made using GANs, standing for General Adversarial Networks. And basically what this is, these are two models which work hand in hand, the first one being the generator and the second one being the discriminator. You'll understand what each does in a second. Let's begin with deep faces. The first step in the process is data collection, where the model receives various images of a person's face in different lighting, angles, and also with the face showing multiple expressions and emotions. With this, the model creates a digital map of the face, or let's just call it a digital avatar of the person's face, by analyzing and understanding the structure of the face to be deepfaked. This falls into the second step, which is the learning process. And after this step is complete, the model has a perfect replica of the face to be deepfaked, with which we move to the next step where some action starts happening. Depending on what you want and the kind of model being trained, either of two things can happen. The first one is that a new video or image of the person could be generated, and this is just... Oh come on, now that's just being mean. Think of this as being a new picture of you, except you never made it. It's entirely created by AI. Or if the training data was to just understand how the face of a person looks like, it could create an entirely new face that does not exist, like this person does not exist.com. These people do not exist. They're completely generated by AI. The second thing that could happen is that the AI could be fed a video or an image of a completely different person, and it would just slap your face onto that one and match the speech being said there, or for it to say something completely different. All of this is performed by the generated model of the GAN, and the last stage is the refinement stage, where the discriminator acts as a detective, taking and looking at the output of the generator and finding defects and errors, with which the generator refines the image, with the cycle repeating itself until the discriminator cannot find errors or defects with the image produced by the generator, and this becomes the final output. But what about deep voices? How can we create something like this? The same process as for deep faces is applied as well, with the data collection stage being where the model collects samples of the subject's voice and does the same thing as above, where it just creates a digital map of the voice to be cloned, with the cloning stage following and the refinement stage at the end. But are deepfakes actually useful? I know that so far we've only mentioned the negative sides of deepfakes, and although I'm still going to look at that in depth, there are actually positive uses of deepfakes. For instance, in the film industry, deepfakes have been used to create video translations of films and other productions. For example, this.
Malaria isn't just any disease.
Se dice que ha matado más de la mitad de la población que ha existido.
To do that, they created a 3D model of David Beckham's face, which they used to create video dubs in other languages. Another use in the entertainment industry is the improvement of visual effects by use of deepfakes to, for example, create higher and better quality video game characters, bring people back to life like we said in the Fast 7 movie, and also the de-aging of movie characters. Another use is in the fashion industry, where the creation of a digital replica could be used to serve as a virtual fitting room, where you could preview yourself in different clothing, hairstyles, and that kind of thing without having to go to the store physically. But with realism comes exploitation, and deepfakes have not been exclusive of this, so let's look at the dark side behind deepfakes.
Hey Mom, hey Dad. It's me, Ella. Well, a digital version of me. Just a bit older. Amazing what technology can do these days, isn't it? All you need are a couple of pictures, like the ones you share on social media, where they can be taken and used by everybody.
As useful as deepfakes can be, they can also be destructive, and in the wrong hands, this technology has proved to be a problem time and time again, as it currently falls into a gray area in the law because it's new and there's a lot to be figured out.
There have been numerous examples recently of AI being used to scam innocent victims, and deepfakes are getting harder and harder to spot.
Hello everyone. I'm here to tell you about the Neuralink crypto token, the new cryptocurrency that will change the world forever.
We built this app, Aviator Flight, where everyone can win a minimum of 1,000.
Obviously those videos look fake, but not everyone knew that.
When it comes to investing, there are many different options to choose from, but you have to be extremely careful who you trust with your money.
Etobicoke Sr. thought she was investing with billionaire Elon Musk, but ended up being scammed out of $750,000.
Elon Musk offering his shares for $250. That, oh my gosh, that would be nice to own.
But this is just one person who came out and told her story. Imagine what happens behind the scenes. Just this year in February, a finance worker in a multinational company was scammed out of $25 million after fraudsters posed as the company's CFO in a Zoom meeting using deepfakes. But by the time they were realizing about this, it was already too late.
Just last month, a finance worker in Hong Kong got scammed into paying a whopping $25 million to scammers who used deepfake technology to successfully pose as a company executive during an entire Zoom meeting.
But this isn't the only field where deepfakes are thriving. The political scene is a very unstable ground as is, and even more during the time of elections, and deepfakes have not helped this at all. Although some of the deepfakes that involve people in the political space have a light-hearted nature to them, we can't deny that there are others that have a more darker intent to them, and those are the ones I want us to talk about. An example of this is the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, who was caught up in a scandal after AI deepfake adult videos of her were uploaded online, leading to her seeking damages worth $108,000 after a civil trial in court. And this is just a glimpse of what damage this could have. Obviously, I can't play any of the more ill-intended videos here because that would be giving them what they want. But the truth is, deepfakes have become a way of evasion by some of these people in the political space where they'll detach themselves from something negative that happens online by dismissing it as fake AI propaganda. And this becomes very hard to deal with deepfake cases as they occur because it's hard to differentiate from deepfake AI frauds and real authentic videos. An example of this is what happened in Gabon.
Army officers have appeared on national television in Gabon claiming they've taken power.
Gabonaises, Gabonais, chers compatriotes, je suis le lieutenant Ondo Biankelibé.
The then president Ali Bongo had been out of the public eye for months. No one had heard anything about him, and media stations offered little to no information. And after months of silence on his New Year's address, he looked different.
Mes chers compatriotes, Gabonaises, Gabonais, avant toute chose,
Permettez-moi de vous adresser.
People started to dismiss it as a deepfake AI hoax, and the next week, army officers staged a coup. The video later turned out to be real, and the president had just been sick at the time. But this, although being an extreme example, shows the amount of power deepfakes could have over the truth. But this isn't as bad compared to what we're about to look at next. It's something a little bit more sinister. How would you feel if you woke up one day only to find that someone had made an adult deepfake video of you and sent it to your family? Well, here's someone who did.
Now, this push follows the arrest of a Long Island man who posted fake photos of more than a dozen former classmates.
And this is just one example of someone who actually got caught. But this isn't always the case.
The person that made that website, I'm going to sue you. I promise you. With every part of my soul, I'm going to sue you.
As of 2023, it was estimated that out of all the deepfakes that are made, 98% of them were porn deepfakes of mostly women who did not consent to it. And this is very much proved with the recent Taylor Swift incident, where it's estimated that the deepfake nudes of hers were viewed at least 45 million times before they got taken down. And this is just one person. Just 2 months ago, in March, explicit deepfake ads of Jenna Ortega were being shown on Instagram, and the picture being used in them was taken of her when she was only 16 years old. And the list of people subject to this goes on and on, leading back to 2018 in the original deepfake subreddit. There are even entire websites whose sole purpose is to offer a catalog of deepfake videos of your favorite celebrity, with the most popular adult video sites having entire sections dedicated to this. And not just celebrities are susceptible to this. In the past few years, there's been a drastic increase of deepfakes of everyday people, mostly due to the increase in the number of undressing applications that exist on the internet. But someone would just ask, what is the law doing about this? Isn't something like this illegal? And well, it's tough because the base argument that comes up when you say that is, technically it's not you, it's a mashup of you and someone else, which to be honest sucks, but there's not a lot here.
So the question is this even illegal? We reached out to KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas, and he said it's not so clear.
But right now, there really isn't anything that this fits squarely into. It's just, it's a real problem because, we certainly have child pornography laws, but these are superimposed or are not real images. So I think they'd have a hard time pursuing a case like that.
Which leaves us with the question, so what are we supposed to do? Just leave everything to still get posted on social media and let the perpetrators of all of this to still get away with it? Well, not entirely. There has been some progress here, and it's not life-changing, but we all start somewhere. To begin with, social media platforms have set up new guidelines that prohibit deepfakes from being posted on their platform. To begin with, we have Reddit back in 2018 with a banning of the deepfake subreddit, where they put in place new policies that prohibited any NSFW deepfakes from being posted on their platform. But deepfakes in the form of satire and parody are still allowed. And who decides whether that's the case? Meta has also done the same thing with other social media platforms following in the same steps. But the demographic also getting affected by this is underage children.
You know that nightmare when you wake up and you've shown up to school or work or something like that without any clothes on? Well, that's kind of happening right now at a school in New Jersey.
I couldn't believe my ears. When I heard it was one of my classmates, I was shocked. I'm not gonna lie, I did start crying because I was very emotional.
With the rise in the number of undressing apps, the cases of deepfakes of minors has also increased drastically. And again, as you might have guessed, it's not you, it's just a mashup.
Yes, it doesn't even matter whether or not you are drawing someone and there's no even clear indication of who that child is. So I understand there's not explicit legislation involving AI, but when you look at a statute, you look at the meaning.
So we're still yet to see what's going to be done on the law side of things, but the question remains, what do we do till then?